Hey, you guys. I've got a game that I just have to share with you. This feels like this is one of the best games that I've played in a long time. It's far from perfect play. I actually blunder two minor pieces towards the end. But already by that point I was going, this is a really, really good game. So without further ado, we'll dive in. So what I'm going to do, I haven't analysed this game yet, but I know that it could be really, really valuable to analyse. But I'm going to analyse it at the end. So we'll walk through it fairly quickly. So we've got a French defence. Okay, my opponent's rated about 1450, and bishop out to c4. I don't know the correct move here, but d5 is nearly always the second move for black. So we exchange pawns in the middle, and now I've got a pawn here defended by my queen attacking his bishop, so he's going to have to do something. What he does is he plays queen e2 check, first of all. Now my queen has to defend this pawn, so I can't really block with the queen. So I decide here to block with my light squared bishop. That also adds a second defender to this, thereby potentially freeing up my queen. However, this bishop is, for the time being, pinned. Right, now we have another check, but c6. Very straightforward, and the bishop now retreats. So this is, I'm quite happy about this. I quite often do this in the exchange variation of the French. Make a little light squared pawn chain. Sometimes ideas about bringing my bishop around and then trying to checkmate up there. That's often a plan. Now I decide to play queen a5, hit the bishop one more time, as the song goes. Also pins this pawn, prevents the d pawn from moving. So in general, it's something that I'm thinking about a bit more at the moment, is just trying to keep the pressure on my opponent as much as possible. I think it just generally works, and the reason is because the more you can attack your opponent, even towards the start of the game, you can force them to do things they don't want to do. You can force them to move pawns. You can force them to, keep moving pieces and give you a lead in development. So just in general, I'm trying to progress my kind of front foot play. Bishop retreats to b3. I bring out my knight. He brings out his knight. I bring out my other knight. Right. So this is not a bad structure now. I've got the knights paired here, which is okay. The thing about the paired knights is the bonuses are when you've got your knights a knight's move away from each other. They're on opposite coloured squares, so the squares that they are controlling kind of interlock. That's nice, plus they're defending each other. Okay, so that's one thing. On the downside, one of the squares that this knight is controlling is occupied by one of my other pieces, and vice versa, right? So here I feel like it's okay. I'm also controlling some dark squares with this guy around the sensitive area. Okay, so we have the other knight come out as well, and I decide to bring out my bishop to b4, and we have castles and castles. So far, so normal. Now d3 is pushed. Now there is an opportunity here. I could have grabbed the knight, pawn recaptures, queen recaptures, attack the rook. Then the bishop would probably have come there to connect the rooks. But instead, I spot something else. I'm focusing on a discovery against the queen. Now there's no immediate damage that this bishop could do. Ideally what you want to do is you want to go move the piece that's in the way of the discovered attack. You want to move that with check or with a capture, even if it's just capturing a pawn, right? You can sometimes get a free pawn. So for example, if h3 had been played, I could play bishop takes h3 and queen has to move, and then the bishop might even just come straight back, but I've taken out a useful pawn. Okay, but there's nothing in it right now. So my opponent probably spots this and plays queen to d2. So now I play bishop g4, right? Because the queen was defending this knight, and now the knight is defended only by the g pawn. So if I can capture the knight, g has to recapture, giving white isolated pawns and, more importantly, opening up the g-file towards the king and exposing the king. So the knight now moves out of the way to stop itself from being captured. Okay, now so what's my next move? c5, yeah, I hit the knight. Now there is an interesting plan coming up here. So what I'm thinking, in terms of reading the board, I'm aware that this knight is currently pinned, right? This knight is pinned against the queen. Okay, so we'll just go back a couple of moves. I want to explain this because this is the really fascinating part of the game. Okay. Oh yeah. So queen moves here. That's it. So the queen's now here in the way of this, right? So that has effectively pinned this knight. Now what I really want to do is I want to be able to push d4 and win this knight. Okay, but I can't do that right now because if I push d4, the knight will simply take it. So I need to get rid of this knight. Okay, so that is the purpose of bishop g4. I want the knight to move. And clearly he's thinking about the problem of bishop takes knight and then g takes. So he now moves the knight. Now I kick the knight again and the knight moves back here. So now the attack is on. Because I can play d4. Now from this square the knight can still capture on d4, but after I played c4, c6 to c5, I can recapture. Okay, so game on now, right? Now this is where you really have to calculate as well, because there's also, I noticed that my opponent here could have played a3 with a counter attack against my bishop, right? So then if I take the knight, he takes the bishop with a discovery against my queen as well. So that's kind of interesting. In the end, he does counterattack, but he counterattacks my bishop over there. Also kind of maybe arguably opening up a line towards the king. I go ahead and capture anyway, and the reason is, obviously, as we see, because my capture comes with a major threat against the queen. Now the queen can't take there, because bishop takes queen, and it's just winning, right? So we have pawn takes, and again, really having to think this through, because now I'm in a situation where I've got two bishops under attack. Okay, can I possibly save them, right? Now I could take this pawn, but it's defended by the knight, right? So what I decide to do is sack the exchange with rook takes knight. Okay, that now under defends this pawn, so I'm now in a situation, plus I'm attacking the queen, so something must be done. Okay, so we have queen takes rook, and now I'm still here. I've still got two bishops under attack. At the moment, material is actually kind of equal. I'm actually down a pawn, but I've given away a rook, but I have two knights in return. Okay, so rook to e8 now kicks the queen. Now I could capture this pawn, right? But then, well, then I'm attacking a rook. Then he might capture my bishop. If I take the rook, I might end up losing my bishop. So I hit the queen and get my rook onto the central file, the open file. And the queen actually comes back here, and that then enables bishop takes c3, actually with a fork on queen and rook. Okay, so the queen's going to have to move, and now I just have to try and think clearly because there's a lot of moving parts going on here. But bottom line, it actually works out quite simple. Yeah, I've got a bishop en prise. White has a rook en prise. Take the rook. Yeah, so I figure it out. I could have just retreated the bishop somewhere like that. Okay, but then he would have saved his rook. So I figure, look, it's a bishop for a rook. I'm actually +1 right now, so I take the rook, he takes the bishop. Okay, and now I bring my bishop back here, but I think this was a poor move, because my opponent now has a very good tactic. Can you see my opponent's next move? Pause if you want and see if you get this. Okay, the move is g5. Now, it seems like an innocuous move, right? He's just advancing a pawn, attacking this knight. But if the knight moves, he has rook and the light squared bishop looking at f7. Okay, so he's a really slippery customer, my opponent in this game. Okay, so let's say I just move my knight out of the way somewhere like there, right? He's got bishop takes, supported by the rook, with check, king has to move, and then he's going to get not just a pawn, but also another exchange as well, and take away my remaining rook. So I can't really have that. I am actually technically, I'm +3 right now. I'm actually up a full knight. Having grabbed the rook. Now, there was an option of a check here, but then the king's just going to move away. So I'm really in a pickle. I couldn't find a way out of this. Now, in the analysis, we may learn something new. So I actually play my queen back here, and my tactic is to play c4, right? So let him take the knight, then I play c4 with an attack on the bishop and a discovery on the king. That check will he'll either have to move or block, and then I win the bishop. So, you know, let him get my knight, I win his bishop. He spots that, just sidesteps the king, and now I play queen d6. Now let me try and remember the purpose of this move. Can't remember exactly why I played that one, but we'll look at it later on. Okay, now we have takes and takes. So also remembering this bishop is actually also defending the knight, so he can't capture with the rook there and open up my king. He has his bishop now comes out, but it's still defended 3 times. I've got bishop, queen, and pawn on there. So now I decide to go after his bishop, right, and push my pawns. One of the imbalances in this game in my favour is that I have better pawns, right? I've got a 3 and a 3, right? My opponent has 1, 2, and 2. So this guy's isolated. So I'm slightly better, and obviously I've got 1 extra pawn. So I push b5, he pushes h3. Maybe giving his king an escape square. I've also got ideas as well about possibly dropping my rook onto here and forcing a big exchange of material. It's like, especially when my queen was looking there, right? So I could have rook there, maybe rook takes and swap off some stuff, but that's not on the cards now because I've moved my queen away from looking at e1. So now a5, right? And this is Ari, and Ari is a little star. Okay. Now white plays his a pawn forward, blocking my progress. I push c4. We have takes, and now I trade off queens. Okay. Now I have the option here. Any point I could play here with check and force an exchange of rooks as well. So with that recapture, I'm now +1, but he recaptures with his bishop. And now material is equal again. We both have 2 minor pieces, 2 rooks, sorry, 1 rook. But he has nasty pawns, right? This could prove significant. We have a 3-on-2 majority on the king side. He has 2 technically passed isolated pawns, both on the c file, and I have Ari on the a file, okay? Now, with that recapture, he's now looking at my rook. We don't want that. So I move now here with check, okay? I want to remove any possibility of a horrid back rank mate, okay? Which I can block, but then get mated. So I decide here to force the exchange of rooks, and we swap off rooks. And now we are in a quite fascinating ending. Okay. He has the option to take my knight and double my pawns here. I don't know if that would be the end of the world. Also, he has the bishop pair, and the bishop pair in the endgame, when you've got a nice open board, can be very powerful, right? Because one bishop on its own can only cover half the board, but two bishops, you've got two high-speed, long-range pieces that between them can cover the whole board. Plus, if you put them side by side, you get an impenetrable field, okay? Like, so let's say, you know, the bishop's there, then you can actually create a space where you can create these fields that the king can't get through, okay? It's like having a rook in the ending. You can actually pen off the king in the part of the board. Now here my opponent, I think, probably makes an error. I'm not too clear on this, but pushes the c-pawn, okay? Now, obviously I need to stop this pawn. This pawn shouldn't be much trouble. If I can stop the front one, the back one is going to be just in the queue. So I play my knight now. I want to save my knight and maybe even progress these pawns. So I play my knight to here where it's looking at the c7 square, right? He pushes again, and now I hit his bishop. Bishop moves. In fact, so the bishop, can't retreat to here because I capture. So he's actually only got two safe squares because my knight's guarding these two. So he has to come back to one of these. Okay, so the bishop now retreats. So that's become worse. Now, have to notice where my knight is though with this move, because he's in line with my king. Okay, and that was my first error. Well, it's not my first error probably in the game, but it's how I lose my first minor piece. Okay, so bishop g3 now, adding a second piece looking at here. So even if he could guard that square, the c7 square, with his dark squared bishop, doesn't matter because I've got two pieces now looking at that square. So he brings out his dark squared bishop and looks at my pawn, right? And I'm thinking, hands off my array. Okay, so bishop c7, and this does a lot of things. First of all, protects array, blocks these two guys, right? Now he can't dislodge my bishop because the only way he could do that would be to go here or here. If he goes f4, I capture with a knight. If he goes here, I capture with a bishop. So not gonna work. Also notice that the time is starting to tick down. He's on 201, I'm on 220, but I think he and I both spot this problem at the same time, and I go, oh no, I hope he doesn't play his bishop there and pin my knight. He puts his bishop there, pins my knight, wins my knight. I'm like, oh no, this could all go Pete Tong. Now it's time to engage the king. Right? Now I'm facing the bishop pair and I only have the one bishop. But I have a couple of things in my favour. Got an extra 15 seconds on the clock, and I've got Ari. And Ari is going to try and save the day. Okay, so bishop looks at h7, ha. Pawn advances, king advances, right? You really want to centralize my king. You need to use the fact that your opponent's king cannot get close to your king, okay? So push, attack the bishop, right? Now he's down to 127. Bishop retreats. Off you go, Ari, and look at this now. How does white stop Ari from getting forward? I think he would have to play his bishop here with check, okay? Because he has to control at least one of these squares. Now, I think that would have been a good move. He could have put his bishop there. He plays his bishop here with check. Oh no, my other bishop. However, king e6, and I've lost my other bishop, right? Same thing. Oh no. Well, in fact, the first one was a pin. This one's a skewer. So, where the more valuable piece is the one in front, right? Have to move. I'm in check. Nothing I can do. I've lost both bishops now. But how does white stop Ari? And he's only got 1 minute 13 to think about it. Okay, so he's going to have to get a bishop looking at one of these squares. So where can he do that? He's got this, no good, king takes. He's got this, no good, king takes. Or he's got this, no good. My king is guarding all of those squares. I mean, technically there are other squares as well that he could try and get to, okay? But from where his bishops are, he can't. So, guess what? Off you go, Harry. Harry. C4. I am unconcerned. A2. Go on, Harry. All the way, mate. Okay. Check. He's down to 24 seconds. E7. King E7. Pushes. Queens. Now, I've got 1 minute 51 on the clock. My opponent has only got 18 seconds. So, we have... I grab a pawn. He pushes and eventually runs out of time. Now, I don't know whether this position is winning for white or winning for black, but very, very satisfied with that win. Now, so let's go through the game again with a review and see what we can learn from that. Clearly, I threw away material a couple of times now. I was thinking too much about my own ideas and forgot to think about safety. Unforgivable. So, we'll wait for this to come up. I'm actually uploading another video, so it's a bit slow right now. But deeply satisfying win. And to be able to convert that pawn, but I think also my opponent had a similar issue in that he didn't consider the threat of my A-pawn enough. And if he had done, so I think he should have been in a completely winning position, really. He could very, very easily, at a few points in that endgame, have blocked Ari, but did not. Probably just underestimated the threat of that. Okay. Whoa! I knew it was a roller coaster, and look at that chart. Look at that chart. Yeah, now 4 blunders, 1 missed win on my part, 2 blunders, 3 missed wins on his part, and a real roller coaster. Okay, but it has got black completely winning at the end, which is good to see. Okay, so bishop out, d5 is best. Good, I'm glad to hear that. That's what I have been playing. Queen there is excellent, but not the best move. Best move is to retreat the bishop. Okay, so queen there. This is excellent as well, but not best. It says block with the dark square bishop. Minimal difference though. Okay, now he plays there. That's good. That's best. Yeah. Okay, retreats. Queen there is excellent, but the best move was to develop the dark square bishop. Okay, but again, minimal difference. Okay, that's the best move. In fact, it's the only move. Best, best, best. Oh, nice. Knight out here, not great. That's good, but not best. What should I have played? Really wants me to put my bishop on there, doesn't he? Okay, so pinning the knight he didn't much like. Castles is best. It's got me slightly better already. Okay, here, there. Let's move forward to the good bit. Oh, nice. Rookie 8. It likes. Queen there is good. Excellent. I'm now plus 1.5. That's excellent, but not best. What was best here? Pushing the pawn up. Okay. I guess simply with the idea of winning the bishop, right? Pawn takes, the bishop's stuck. So I maybe missed the fact that the bishop could have been trapped. I played that. He plays that which is questionable. Right, now, that's the best move. Good. That's an inaccuracy because that's an inaccuracy. But it's got me winning. It's got me 5. Minus 5. Okay, that's an inaccuracy, so what should I have played? Take the knight. Yeah, it was a simple case of, hang on, take the knight. It appears to be defended twice, but if I'd have taken the knight, The knight can't capture because it would lose the queen. Right? And the queen can't capture because then rook takes queen. Simple chess stuff. Okay, so that's the inaccuracy. Doesn't like it. That's excellent. Taking the knight was a blunder. What the huh? Because, let's show the line. Takes. And white here is up 1 pawn. Okay, if he'd have found this move. So I take the knight, pawn takes. My bishop could have gone there, where it's protected by the queen, I guess. Pawn takes. Okay, so hang on. So he does capture, yeah, and threatens my bishop. And now it says that's a blunder. I was quite pleased with that move. That's a blunder. What should I have done? Push the pawn up, attack the bishop, and what would have happened? And white's still a pawn up. I don't get it. That is one of those things where you sometimes just have to go, all right, machine, do your machine thing. Okay, so, and now queen taking there was a missed win. So at this point in time, white could have gone on, could have had a winning position, but not this way. Okay, what should he have done? Take on there. So first take the bishop. Okay, then if I take his queen, he gets my queen. And he's won the bishop. He says that's a critical move, but now she takes. But now I make a mistake. He says that was terrible. That was a missed win. What should I have done here? Wants me to take the pawn straight away. Yeah, it just says take the pawn straight away. But that is a missed win. It actually says that white is much, much better. But it doesn't tell me why. It doesn't tell me why. It's got the offering to show me the win, but I don't want to see the win. Because show line here is going to be the same kind of thing, right? Anyway, so that's a slight issue there. But queen there, huge missed win. That's the best move. Queen retreats. Winning the rook is good, but not best. Anyway, I'm in a completely winning position at this point, okay? So, he takes the bishop, okay. But now it's got black winning. I am up the piece, okay? That's a mistake, and I think we realized it because of this threat, okay? That's best, yeah. So I figured out the threat, but I figured it out too late. Queen, there's an inaccuracy I should have played. Don't really see that because surely the bishop just takes. I play that, what was the line? Bishop takes. There we go, guys, that was the solution. And I'm still winning, right? So, okay. So, with this idea, what I'm doing is I'm forcing the bishop to come to here within range of this knight. That's clever, isn't it? That is clever. Now, if you take my knight, I take your bishop, which is kind of my idea, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. That's how to do it. Okay, so it didn't like that. King there is best. Yeah, well spotted. Doesn't like that. What should I have done? Queen there. pinning this pawn, I guess. Takes, knight takes. Seems alright. Kind of the way it went, really, isn't it? Anyway, so... Okay, it doesn't like that. Takes, knight takes is best. Good, but not brilliant. Good, but not brilliant. What should I have done? Again, queen c6. Pinning the c-pawn. But you've got to be a computer to know why, or a grandmaster. Okay, that's okay. That's excellent. Best, yep. Excellent. Best was push that one. Then Ari has got nowhere to go. Okay, so okay, so trading queens was best. That's excellent, but the best move was knight in. Oh yeah, so I'm attacking the bishop, and I'm also threatening a knight fork on king and rook. Missed it, totally missed it. Now he would have had to have gone there. Okay, so let's watch the line. Yep. Retreat the bishop. Yeah, don't really get it. All right, let's go back. See, sometimes you do just have to let the computer do its computer thing. Okay, best, good. I'm pleased about this. Takes. Best move, inaccuracy. A better option would have been. Okay, slide the king over now. Okay. Wants me to use the king in the defense of that. Okay, I was actually planning to get my king over. That's an inaccuracy, as we see. That's a blunder. Didn't need to do that. And it's got white winning. I should have put my bishop there straight away. Okay. But it's a blunder because the line is... And then the bishop's going to come here, attacking Ari and also preventing that. Yeah, but he didn't figure that one out, did he? Didn't figure it out. So let's just see the line again. There, coming round. Right? Okay. Let's just see it again. I need to figure this out. Okay, that's a blunder because... Okay, pin, grab the knight. Okay, so actually it wasn't so much that it was that move was particularly bad. It's the fact that I missed the threat on the pinning the knight. In fact, I created the threat. That's the problem. Pushed f6, created this problem. Yes, but he missed it at that point. But then I missed it again with this, and it's now got white as +5. And he missed it again, and now it's got us equal. And that missed it again. Right? I thought that was a decent move. It wasn't. We fall for this. Okay? And I've lost my knight. Okay? Now what the computer doesn't take into account is the time scramble situation as well. Okay, likes that. That's apparently a mistake, and we know why now, don't we? Right? Now, because he's missed this, because Doofus over here has forgotten about pins and skewers, apparently. And I move my king there, but carefully make sure to keep it on the same diagonal as my bishop. That's good, but not best. What was best? Yeah, winning the bishop was best. Of course it was. Okay, but I miss it. He misses it. I miss it again. Now he's got it plus 9.8, and now he sees it. Okay, best move, excellent. And off you go, Ari. Go, Ari, go, Ari. Now, yes, when we went through the game, I said that I think was his mistake. And it is. Pushing that pawn. What? Why? Apart from one thing, he's blocking this diagonal. So he's actually guarding this square for Ari and keeping Ari safe. Okay? But what he's not doing is he's not doing anything to prevent this threat. It's an absolutely stupid move. Okay, so with this, the best move would have been bishop to here, okay, getting ready to put his bishop on this diagonal. Okay? I would have had to have gone there, but then he just goes here. Oh no, I can't go there. So he puts his bishop here, right? He's guarding all of these squares, and my king can't approach. I can't get round. Yeah? Can't even go there. So you see, he threw it. He threw the game at that point. This is absolutely fascinating stuff. There's so much to learn, guys, from just one game of chess. There really is. You don't need to play 20 games a day to improve. Just play one game like this and see what the blooming blunders are. Right, now, anyway, at this point he's lost. Okay, so he pushes that and that's losing. That's best. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Well, it's best. Okay, that's an inaccuracy. So I'm not completely winning at this point. What's it got? It's about 3.5 is pretty good. Okay, should have put the king there. I guess where he could have guarded it with the bishop and actually protected the king. But then I'm just going to come and gobble all this stuff up. Actually, the bishop would still be defending that pawn from there. Maybe that's his idea. Let's show the line and find out. Yeah, that's it. Bishop g2. Bishop g2 is the move. And I would have got this pawn probably. In fact, he can put his bishop there, and the bishop and pawn are defending each other. You see? So much learning. And this is just in the game report on chess.com, right? Now, you do have to be, I think, a paid-up member to get the full report. But my golly, it's worth it. You can get more from this, potentially, than a 1-hour chess lesson. If you are prepared to put in the work. Anyway, let's go back. Okay, so he goes there. That's not good. There I win a pawn, but could cause trouble. And I was wondering about that. Whether there could actually have been something that he could have done with this bishop pair. But I'm not too sure. Remember, he's still got a dangerous pawn that I would need to eliminate. But fortunately, I've got a minute and a half. He's only got 15 seconds. But let's see the line. Maybe. But with the time situation as it was, I think we're okay. Anyway, so there you go. I think that's probably all we need to see from this, because it finished on time anyway. And that was good. Yeah, forking the king and the bishop. But wow, what a roller coaster. Yeah, real, every emotion under the sun. But I thought it was a great game. And the thing is, you don't have to play with 90% accuracy to have a great game. And you don't have to do much to learn from your games, particularly with this analysis that chess.com gives you now. I really do like the game report. Yeah. And actually my opponent played better than I did on that. Well, I made some completely ridiculous moves and lost a couple of pieces. But, you know, it's great. This is telling me what I need to do from this point in time. So hopefully I will become a better player, and I'll be a better player tomorrow than I was today. So hope that's been useful for you as well to go through. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.